Hey, before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that we are doing a giveaway this month. If you want to find out more details, just head on down to the description and you can check it out. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the guild. So obviously today we are talking about Battle Systems Terrain. Now, what's kind of funny is that I'd considered making content about this stuff before, and then in a past stream recently, some people were talking about it, so we're going to go into it in a little bit more detail here and discuss what the options are, what it is, and kind of what you get for your money, and I'll leave that up to you if you think it's worth it. So, to start with, Battle Systems Terrain is a flat pack, pre-packed, pre-colored terrain that you assemble yourself. Now, this is 28 to 35 millimeter scale. You could fudge that in various ways. You'll see, like with the Warcrow miniatures, they're maybe a little bit big for this scale, but given that I want terrain to represent the thing and make it feel correct while still being playable, that is fine for me, but that is a personal preference for you. You'll have to decide if you want it to be a perfect one-to-one scale or not. Now, you do have various different themes to choose from. You've got fantasy, your kind of traditional medieval, you've got ruins, sci-fi stuff, urban cities, dungeons, and you've got kind of a couple choices within each of those categories to choose from. Now, some of those things do come with sets. Some of them come with mats, but you could also buy individual things. So if you want, say, like a medieval castle set, you could grab that. But then if you also want like just some of the northern buildings to kind of put on the other side of the wall, just to kind of create your own thing, you can do that. You're not limited to the set, so you don't have to buy a bunch of stuff you don't want. You could just buy the stuff you do want. So like me, I bought the road tiles that double as rivers just to kind of see what the material was, and then I liked it, so I bought the whole set, which came with a little bit more of that stuff, but you have that freedom to do so. Now, I have the Northern Settlement. It was about $110, so you'll get an idea of what that stuff is. But as far as the theming and stuff, there's something for everybody. I've looked at considering maybe getting some for Halo Flashpoint of like the sci-fi urban stuff to see if I could maybe make something out of that stuff, because it is modular. You do assemble it yourself, so you don't have to worry about making it look correct, and you get the freedom to make it how you want, but it will take a tiny little bit of work to get it there. All right, let's go ahead and head to the table, and we'll talk about some of the stuff in a little bit more detail. All right, so obviously I can't show you everything here, so I'm going to be trying to insert some clips for some of these things that I'm going to be talking about, and hopefully you'll get a broader idea of what it is I'm trying to convey. Obviously, I've never really done anything like this, so give me any sort of feedback in the comments. That would be great. So starting off, when you get these things, they are flat packed, and they come with clips in a lot of cases. So if you're familiar with like the Halo Flashpoint terrain or even the Warcrow terrain, they kind of have like this slotting system built into the panels themselves. Warcrow has that with some things, but then a lot of it is put together with these little plastic clips. Now they slide into little slots, and you can kind of put together the things. Part of that is because it is modular, so using the clips allows you to connect them in more ways than you want. But now you can see in some of these cases, like show you this, like the tower does slot together with built-in parts of the wall. So they do use it in some cases, but it is not the standard thing for a lot of their buildings. So the clips are a little bit finicky, and I know that people get a little confused with them. That just is what it is. They do have YouTube tutorials from the company of a guy going through putting together stuff. If you want to assemble it how it is conveyed on the box art that you buy, which is basically what I did. I just followed the tutorials and put them together exactly as they were represented. But I bought the Northern Settlement, and when I was done putting it all together, I still had enough pieces to build out another house. So even though the Northern Settlement only shows, I think, basically what you see here, the two houses and the longhouse, I have a third, standard small size house. That was just because I had stuff left over, so I just assembled it all the same. And I still have a ton of stuff left over, but that was all the roofs that I had, so you could still make more stuff. I still had some extra clips and things. So you get a lot of value for your money. Like I said, this was about $110, and you get easily enough terrain to fill out even a 3-foot table. This is obviously everything but the trees. This is a roughly 3-foot by 3-foot space. And I still have a whole nother house. I have more of these palisade walls. I've got more cobblestone pathways. I've got plenty of stuff. So you get a lot of stuff And if you've ever 3D printed terrain, you know kind of how tedious and how time consuming it is to print and paint and detail and do all the things. This takes a little bit of time to put together, don't get me wrong, but it's fantastic in the end. Now, one of the things that is worth mentioning is the card thickness. Again, if you're familiar with like the Halo Flashpoint or even the Warcrow terrain, their card stock is a little bit thicker. This I would consider like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 millimeters. My visual ruler is not fantastic, so take that with a grain of salt, but it's definitely thinner than the Halo Flashpoint terrain. And it's not really a big deal, but it does make things feel a little bit more flimsy. If you try to move things in whole pieces, you have to be a little bit careful. It's not a big deal. I haven't had any issues as a result of that. It's just something I've noticed, so I'm relaying it to you. Something else that I've seen people mention is peeling, and it is cardstock with printed like paper, essentially. So if you're rough with things or don't pay attention to things, especially where these things slot together, you will get some peeling, specifically on some of the ladders, just because of how thin the rungs are, just trying to pop out the slots on them. I was getting a little bit of peeling, but again, given the time and the effort and then all the stuff that you save, that is not a big deal to me. Also, people will go in and just color it with like a marker or something and fill that back in, so that's really not a big deal. So talking about the buildings, you get a good variety. Again, just specifically referring to the Northern Settlement Pack. I think the pictures show 2 of these little houses, the stables, the longhouse. You get all the palisade walls, some of which have like walkways on them. You get cobblestone roads. You get the guard towers. You get plenty of fences. You get a ton of this type of scatter terrain. You get a lot of stuff, and it all looks really good. Okay. Something else to mention about the buildings is that they are all enterable. So I don't have this set up because I don't really play with interiors, but for those of you who do, you could just lift off the roof and you've got a workable interior. The doors do open. I don't pop mine open because, again, I don't really play with them like that. But you've got plenty of these tables. You've got beds. You've got shelves. You've got all sorts of different things that, you know, decorate your interiors if you want to play with that. Longhouse included. It's got kind of a 2-stage roof removal, and the second roof's kind of peel open. But you can get to the interior of all of these things if you want to play with them. So you're not only just getting the outside visuals, you are getting the interiors. These floor pieces are separate. It's kind of a pain. I guess you could technically attach them with clips if you really wanted, but that is up to you. You also get these brick pieces that are supposed to kind of perimeter your buildings. They're kind of like little puzzle pieces. I find them more tedious than it's worth to try to put them out, but they do look nice if you take the time to connect them around your building. So speaking of that scatter terrain, let's talk about that for just a second. You do get a good variety of things, but you get some weird stuff. So like these crates, you can see they have the slotting together style. It's not that big of a deal. And again, given that I view terrain as more so to be a representative of the thing rather than the actual thing, obviously, that just looking like a crate, given some discrepancy, is fine. Okay, I don't really care. One of the things that does kind of bug me more so, which is kind of hypocritical of me, is something like this table and these weapons, which you also get these little weapon racks, which depending on the weapon types feel a little better, but like this axe and this sword look ginormous in relation to it. So I don't use the tables a whole lot, but like, I don't know, there's different things that, like I was talking about, you could fudge with scale and size and all of this different stuff, but some of it does look kind of silly. But you do get a good variety of these different tables, stuff like this. You get some carts, crates, beds, chairs, weapon racks, ladders. You get a huge variety of these different scatter objects, along with a bunch of different fences like it said, with the palisade walls and all that stuff, you get a bunch of variety. So and this is something I didn't know about for a while, and then I don't remember where I saw it, but it was just like a weird eye opener. I print a lot of terrain, but this was significantly easier and it looks fantastic. So take that for what you will. And quickly touching on the cobblestone roads that I talked about, they do double as a river. They do have a little bit of sheen to them, but you know, it's not that big. So I think that is all I really have to say about Battle Systems Terrain, specifically the Northern Pack. I myself am looking to probably get a little bit more of this type of stuff, just because it's nice to have on hand. I didn't even have a Warcrow when I bought it, and I use it for Warcrow now because it fits perfectly. So I think the price is plenty fine for what you get. You could buy an individual item if you want to check the quality first, like I did. But all in all, I think it's kind of a no-brainer if you're okay with the paper kind of sheen that it has, but that is up to you. I'll leave the link to their website down in the description below if you want to check it out. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, please leave a comment with any critique, criticism, compliments, whatever you want to do, and hit that subscribe button, all right? I will see you guys in the next one, all right? Bye, guys.